Hollywood loves reboots, but not every star wants to be part of them. From Harry Styles walking away from Disney royalty to Daniel Radcliffe refusing to return to Harry Potter, these actors shocked studios by saying no to some of the biggest reboot roles ever offered. Here are the stars who turned down major reboots and why they walked away. One Disney princess role wasn't enough to convince her, but another one changed everything. Emma Watson was considered for the lead role in Disney's live-action Cinderella, but she decided not to take it. Years later, after landing a starring role in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, Watson explained that Cinderella simply wasn't the character she connected with most. When the opportunity to play Belle came along, it felt like a much better fit. Watson was especially drawn to Belle's independent personality and the way she refuses to let others decide what she should believe. That connection made accepting the role an easy decision. Anne Hathaway turned down the chance to play Alice herself and asked for a completely different role instead. Anne Hathaway was originally offered the title role in Disney's Alice in Wonderland, but she wasn't interested in playing another fairy tale heroine. Hathaway felt she had already played similar characters before and wanted something different. Rather than walk away from the project entirely, she told the studio she would be interested in playing the White Queen. When another actress became unavailable because of scheduling conflicts, Hathaway got the role she wanted. Instead of becoming Alice, she joined the film as the White Queen and brought her own unique interpretation to the character. Ryan Gosling was forced to make a choice that completely changed two major movies. Ryan Gosling was reportedly approached by Disney to play the Beast in the live-action reboot of Beauty and the Beast. At nearly the same time, director Damien Chazelle wanted him for La La Land. The problem was simple. Both movies were filmed during the summer of 2015, and Gosling couldn't do both. He ultimately chose La La Land, leaving Disney to cast Dan Stevens as the Beast instead. In a surprising twist, Emma Watson chose Beauty and the Beast over a leading role in La La Land, meaning the two stars nearly ended up trading projects. Most actors would jump at the chance to revisit an Oscar-winning role. Mads Mikkelsen wanted no part of it. Mads Mikkelsen starred in the original Danish film Another Round, but when plans moved forward for an English-language remake, he made it clear that he wouldn't return. Mikkelsen felt that replaying the exact same character in a new version was a tricky idea and believed the role was better left to someone else. The film's director agreed, saying that a remake should be interpreted differently rather than having the same actor perform another version of the same role. As a result, Mikkelsen stepped aside while the remake moved forward without him. A Disney reboot almost landed a huge star, until one number changed everything. Will Smith was approached to star in Tim Burton's live-action Dumbo, but the deal never came together. One reported obstacle was salary, as Smith allegedly asked for $20 million for the role. Disney wasn't willing to pay that amount and began searching for a different lead, eventually casting Colin Farrell instead. After leaving the project, Smith reportedly secured a similarly lucrative deal for Netflix's Bright. The story didn't end there, though. Disney later returned with another reboot offer, and this time Smith signed on to play Genie in Aladdin. The actor who played Harry Potter for years has no plans to return to the wizarding world anytime soon. Daniel Radcliffe made it clear that he doesn't want to play Harry Potter again and isn't interested in committing to another long-running franchise right now. After spending years with the original series, Radcliffe said he's happy with the flexibility he has in his career today. He also felt that not enough time had passed since the film franchise ended. With a new Harry Potter TV reboot expected to be a major long-term project, Radcliffe chose to stay focused on different opportunities instead of returning to the world that made him famous. The Ghostbusters reboot invited back an original star, and he didn't see the point. Rick Moranis was offered a brief cameo in the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot that would have brought back his original character, Louis Tully. But Moranis declined. His reason was simple. He felt the cameo would basically repeat a performance he had already done in the original movie. Even though he had stepped away from acting for many years, Moranis made it clear that he wasn't retired and remained open to future projects. The reboot just wasn't one that interested him enough to return for. The star of Hellboy was invited back and immediately said no. Ron Perlman had no interest in returning for the 2019 Hellboy reboot because one key person wasn't involved, Guillermo del Toro. Perlman loved working with del Toro on the first two films and believed the director already had the perfect ending planned for a third movie. When Hollywood chose to reboot the franchise instead, Perlman declined the opportunity to put the makeup back on. He later explained that without del Toro, he simply wasn't interested in revisiting the character. The reboot moved forward with David Harbour in the lead role instead. Harry Styles almost became Disney's next prince, but then walked away from the role completely. Harry Styles was considered for Prince Eric in the live-action reboot of The Little Mermaid, a part that eventually went to Jonah Hauer-King. According to the film's director, Styles chose a different path because he wanted to focus on movies that were darker and outside the musical genre. The goal was to stretch himself as an actor and show audiences more than his music career. Instead of joining Disney's reboot, Styles pursued other film projects that aligned with those career plans. Alicia Keys had the chance to star in a major reboot and turned it down for a very unexpected reason. Alicia Keys was approached to appear in an early version of A Star is Born opposite Will Smith, but she chose not to take the role. According to her manager, Keys felt that the character was too similar to herself and didn't see that as a true acting challenge. Instead, she wanted to step outside her comfort zone and take on more complicated roles. The plan was to begin with strong supporting parts rather than jump straight into carrying a major film as the lead. Most actors turn down a role once. Beyoncé turned down the same reboot role twice. Beyoncé was pursued for the female lead in A Star is Born for years, even as different actors were considered for the male lead. The project looked promising, but after announcing her pregnancy, the film's uncertain production timeline and her busy schedule led her to leave the project. Years later, the studio approached her again for the same role. This time, she was open to returning, but the deal ultimately fell apart during negotiations. After losing Beyoncé a second time, the studio continued its search and eventually cast Lady Gaga.